Namaskar students. So in this video we are going to start our new chapter, that is time domain analysis. So this is the first lecture of your chapter number 2. So we will start a new topic that is called time response analysis of the system. So far what we have learned is a system, how we can model any kind of system. Okay, so the model that using basic conservation laws of the voltage or the current laws as far as your electrical engineering is concerned, and also the laws of forces in case of mechanical system. So we could derive the model based on a transfer function, and if we have the system which are interconnected transfer function, then we had techniques of how to get the overall transfer function via your block diagram reduction technique. Okay, so that much part we have already studied. So what we learn today is, once I have a model, so what could I do with the model, or we can say how does the model behave. So for the first thing is, after I obtain the model, how to know the performance of that control system for any input signal is important. And next thing is how to design a system which meets some desired response. Okay, so it could be some natural response or even to fit control requirements. So that is we are going to study. So how do we visualize this thing? So as for let's say take an example of a system. So let me say when we are subject to a driver's license test, right? So the driving inspector doesn't really test us for the all possible condition on the road, which could include the high speed on your highway. It could include the heavy traffic on the city. It could also involve the traffic with the buffaloes running on the road and the kids playing on the streets. So we don't get tested for all these kind of conditions. Okay, so instead what the driving test does is, under the standard Indian condition, so we'll just have a little predefined track which we have to drive to pass the learner's test. Okay, so you have to make a figure of 8, or you have to take a reverse, you have to park your car, or several other things. So these are the standard things we will encounter while we drive on the roads. Okay, now this could be differ from the person to person. Let's say in another example, so either you could be a fast programmer, or you could be a programmer or a coder, which is you can do very fast, or you could, some other person could take some longer time but write a code which is more efficient. So all these I would get to know with some basic standard test signal. So similarly, what will happen when we design a control system, or we analyze a control system or a model, we will subject it to some standard test signal. So because we would not be able to simulate a real control input kind of signal, so this state signal will tell me how my system will react under the changing conditions. So this condition for system could be, I have a kind of a shock which could be an impulse function. I could have a time varying signal which could be modeled as a ramp signal, or the parabolic signal, or the step signal. Okay, or other kind of sinusoidal signal also be there in case of your frequency response analysis. Okay, so I could have just sudden disturbance which could be tested with step signals and so on. So throughout this we will see how many system would behave. The system could be of a different nature, right? So how many system would behave based on a certain standard test signal, and this will broadly constitute the entire time domain analysis and some design specifications. Okay, so let me just start that. So the definition itself of your time domain analysis, it says that time domain analysis, it generally refers to the analysis of a system performance with respect to time. So whenever you are having a system and this modeling of system is the function of time, in that case we can say the system is a time domain, and we are doing a time domain analysis. Okay, so we are assuming a function which is the function of a time. So the study of the evolution of the system varies, especially we are talking about the output with respect to time. In that case we can say we are doing the time domain analysis. So generally there are two common ways of analyzing the response of the system. The first is the natural response and the forced response. Now what is natural response and forced response we are going to study today. Another is transient response and the steady state response. So in both the cases the complete response of the system is given by the combination of the both the response. So let's say natural and the forced response, or we can say the transient and the steady state response. Now what is the natural response and what is the your forced response? So let me just introduce you with these definitions. Okay, so what is natural response, or it is also known as a zero input response? So whenever a system's response with initial condition with all external forces set to be 0, it is also known as a zero input response. Let's say for an example we are having a capacitance which is having some charge in it. Okay, let's say capacitance C and having some charge, that is Q, and it is connected with some resistance, let's say it is R. So whenever we connect this circuit, this charge will be dissipated through this resistance. Okay, so this circuit has no any voltage and current source, or we can say any independent voltage and current sources. In that case also this resistance is going to be dissipated some energy, because your capacitance have some initial values. Okay, so that system responds with some initial condition with all external forces set to be 0. There is no any external sources is there. That is why it is known as a zero input response, because we are not supplying any input. The second thing is the forced response. It is also known as a zero state response. So a system responds to external forces with zero initial condition. It means, let's say we are talking about a series RLC circuit. The R, L and C is connected, some voltage source is connected. Okay, so let's say the voltage across resistor is VR, here it is VL, and here it is VC. Current is same, so it is, let's say it is I. So whenever this kind of system will be there, we are assuming that initial there is no current in inductor and no voltage across the capacitor. Okay, we are assuming initial condition 0. So such kind of response is known as a zero state response. Okay, or the forced response, where you can see the independent voltage source or sometimes the current source will be there. Some other kind of response is, let's say, the transient response and the steady state response. So what is the transient response? So the part of a time response that goes to 0 as time tends to be very large. Ideally, let's say the time tends to infinite. So limit time tends to infinite, the value of the function or the response, it is a 0. Okay, it is known as a transient response. So the transient response can be tied to any event that affects the equilibrium of the system. Now for transient and steady state response, we are making one assumption. So while we are just defining your transient response and steady state response, I'll make one assumption that your system is stable system. Okay, this all is about your stable system. For not unstable system, we are going to discuss the stability, which is the relative stability and absolute stability in detail in further chapter. But right now, let's say what is stability. So whenever, let's say a pendulum is connected right here, and if you just pushes it forward in that direction, in that case it will be take some rotation and it will be settled down after some time at this point. Okay, so this point P is nothing but your equilibrium position. Okay, so if you push it in this direction, it will take some oscillation, and afterward it will be stable at this point. So this is nothing but your stability. So at this point, this kind of stability, it is enough. Okay, afterward I will explain what is the actual stability and relative stability and your actual stability, steady state stability. So transient stability is nothing but when your time tends to infinite, ideally it is very large, your response becomes 0. What is steady state response? So steady state response is the time response of a system after the transient practically vanishes and as time goes to infinite. So in short, we can say your steady state response will be in the picture after the vanishes of your transient response. So let's say we are having a system, let's say it is given by a transfer function g of s, and we are giving input r of s in form of unit step signal. Now still you don't know what is unit step signal, but let me just tell you, and in that case you will get output. Okay, so you want to find the value of c of s. Now all these things are the function of time. We are defining as in Laplace domain, that is why it is r of s, g of s and c of s. So in time domain it will be your r of t, your g of t and c of t. So if you apply an unit step signal, and let's say the behavior of the system, sometime it can be your exponential behavior due to the system modeling, sometime it can be exponential function. Let's say it is exponential function. Okay, this is your c of t and time t. Okay, so our input is r of t, that is a unit step signal having the value for, let's say, t greater than or equal to 0, value is 1 unit, it means 1, and for t less than 0 the value is 0. So here you can see, here for less than 0 the value is 0, and for greater than or equal to 0 the value is 1. Okay, so this is our input, and when we are given to this this kind of model, in that case your output, let's say it is an exponential function. Okay, so we'll get output in this form. So this total time response can be divided into two parts. One is your transient response. So this will be your transient response. It is y of t, and this will be your steady state response. Okay, now steady state response, here you can see the ideal value should be unity, but here it is going to increase from 0 to some values. Let's say here the value is 0.97. Okay, so whenever you have a 3% of difference in your actual value, and your output is known as a steady state output or the steady state response. Okay, and this much of value difference is known as your steady state error, ESS. Okay, because your input is 1 and you are getting output as 0.97, so there will be some error, that is actual minus whatever your output is there. Okay, so 1 minus 0.97 is 0.03 is error. So in case of exponential function, the behavior of the system will something like this. So like this, and your oscillation is tamped out at some point, and then it will try to catch your steady state value. So we can say your total response y of t is nothing but your transient response plus your steady state response. Okay, now let us define your standard input signal. So the most of the cases, the important signal to a control system are not known, okay, prior to the design of any control system. Hence, to analyze the performance of the control system, it is excited with some standard set of signal. And what are the standard set of signal? That is, get right here, it is given. So in general, control system design specification are also based on the response of the system to such test signal. Okay, so generally the standard test signals include your unit impulse, or we can say a shock kind of function. Okay, your unit step, it means you are giving a sudden change to your system, or we can say a ramp, or we can say the constant velocity. So the value is going to change with respect to time. Let's say a sudden change, it means you are having a room and 10 people is there and you are having a temperature of 20 degree. Now suddenly some 20 again people come into the room and you are having the same temperature. Okay, so this kind of change is known as a unit step. Unit ramp is a kind of change that one person is coming at a time in a room at some between some time. Okay, let's say at time t is equal to 1, one enters. At time t is equal to 2, one another enters. At 3, another people enters. So such kind of signal is known as a ramp signal. And last one is a parabolic signal, or we can say the constant acceleration. Okay, the sinusoidal signal is we are not going to study right now. When we are going to deal with your frequency domain analysis, in that case we study your sinusoidal signal. So these inputs are chosen because they capture many of the possible variation that can occur in a arbitrary input signal. Now let us understand each and every behavior of the signal. So let's say first one is your unit impulse signal. So unit impulse signal is a signal that is a non-zero at only t is equal to 0 and it integrates to 1. So it will be this kind of signal. So value of your signal delta t will be 0 for all the values and will be equal to 1 for time t is equal to 0, and if you integrate, the value will be 1. So if you integrate minus infinite to infinite delta t, the value will be 1. Okay, here we are assuming that your magnitude of your impulse is 1. So let's say this value is 1 only. That is why it is unit impulse signal. So if you take the Laplace transformation of this function, in that case you will get 1. Okay, the next signal is the unit step signal. So a signal that switches to 1 at a time instant and stays there. Okay, so for time t which is greater than or equal to 0, your value of xt is nothing but 1, because here we are talking about unit, so it will be 1. In general we can say, let's say it is a. Okay, if a is equal to 1, in that case it will be unit step signal. So for time t greater than or equal to 0, and the value will be 0, you can see, and the left hand side of your y-axis it is 0 for t less than 0. So if you take the Laplace transform of this function, you will get the value is 1 upon s. Okay, so this is very important. We are going to directly use while we are solving the examples of unit step signals. Okay, so third signal is unit ramp signal, or we can say the ramp signal only. So a signal which increases linearly with respect to the time. So you can see for time t greater than or equal to 0, your system or the input signal is going to increase linearly. So let's say for time t is equal to 1, the value is 1. For time t is equal to 0, so the value is 2. Okay, and if you just find out some values and join those dots, you will get such kind of response. Okay, so it is a kind of a line, and if you find the equations for that, it will be a into t. Okay, because the variable is t and a is constant. So if you are talking about a unit ramp signal, in that case it will be only t. And if you take the Laplace transform of this, you will get a divided by s square, and for unit it will be 1 divided by s square. Okay, same way your parabolic signal. So it can be defined at x of t is equal to at square by 2 for t greater than or equal to 0, and 0 for t less than 0. And if you take the Laplace transform of this function, you will get a divided by s cube, and for unit parabolic signal it will be a divided by 1 divided by s cube. Okay, it is very simple. Now from this, if you just differentiate your this 1 divided by d by dt of your parabolic signal, okay, if you differentiate with respect to s, okay, or you differentiate directly with respect to t, don't do this. If you just do d by dt of at square by 2, your a by 2 is constant, and your differentiation will be differentiation of t square is nothing but 2t 2 minus 1, so it is this 2 will be cancelled and this is a multiplied by 2. So this is the differentiation of your parabolic signal, will give you a multiplied by 2, and a multiplied by 2 is nothing but your ramp signal. Same way, if you differentiate your ramp signal, that is a multiplied by t, a is constant and dt by dt is 1, so it is equal to a. In that case, this is your ramp signal and you will get a, that is nothing but generally it is for non-unit step signal it is a, so it is nothing but your step signal. Okay, so if you differentiate your parabolic signal, you will get ramp signal, and if you differentiate ramp signal, you will get step signal. Same way you can say if you integrate your step signal, you will get ramp signal, and if you integrate ramp signal, you will get a parabolic signal. Okay, so it will be very important when we are solving the example and also in future also. Okay, so this is all about today's lecture, that is your standard test input signal. From next lecture we are going to start your first order control system when it is subjected to a unit step signal, unit ramp signal, unit impulse signal. Okay, thank you so much.